Welcome everyone to this edition of the YOGAmazing video podcast. I am Chaz. I am your host. Peace and welcome back. Now you may be saying, well Chaz, why is the yoga studio dark? Well, the lights are out. We're not going to be practicing studio here today. We're actually going outside the studio and we're going to be working on our body, our mind, and the food that we put into our body, because it's, it's the first part of the year and everybody always wants to lose weight and they always want to keep in good physical shape. But for some reason throughout the year, people, it slacks off, it wanes. So what I'm going to do in this episode is I want to inspire you to continue your yoga practice, to continue to eat healthy, and to continue to think clearly with a healthy mind. I've got some friends I've known for many years that I brought in on this episode so that they can be a part of this and participate. And we've also got a yoga student who will tell us the benefits that yoga has brought to him with his ailment. Great story, a lot of great information here. I'm very excited about this because this is different. And I like this idea, so I'll probably do it more in the future. So remember, if you have an idea for an upcoming episode, please send it to me, chaz@yogamazing.com. Of course, you can always find me in Facebook, YouTube, and in Twitter. And remember, you can go to the yogamazing.com website and find lots of great things in the store, from DVDs to downloadable podcasts in the archive. A lot of great stuff up there. And if you get a chance, please go to YOGAmazing website and hit the donate button, because that just helps to keep the YOGAmazing podcast continuing. So remember, as we go through today's class, to breathe, relax, and have fun in this very special edition of the YOGAmazing video podcast. Well, I'm sitting here at the Bikram studio here in Crestwood, Kentucky, and I'm with Kristin. Now, Kristin is the owner of the Bikram studio, which is called Hotspot Yoga.
It's Bikram Yoga Louisville at the Hotspot.
And this is just, just on the outside of Louisville, but we've been friends for many years. And we both do our yoga. She does Bikram, I do more vinyasa. But we both always tell people the great benefits that yoga can bring to you. And that's why in this episode I wanted to focus not on what I typically do in the podcast, which is a specific class for a certain type of poses for, let's say, yoga for neck and shoulders or your lower back. I wanted to tell stories about people. So it's January. People are making all these big wishes. That's why this year in the episode we've talked about, we're going to be talking about food, dieting, mental health, physical health. And we saw each other several months back, and you were telling me some great stories of, especially one gentleman who I interviewed and got some footage of, and he's very inspirational to speak with. But why don't you tell me a little bit about how this all came to be and about David?
Okay. David actually was... our name was given to him by the Taekwondo studio next door, because that's not something that he could actually initiate with a Taekwondo practice, but he really needed to get into an exercise program so he didn't end up in a wheelchair. He had polio as a child, and he developed quite a bit of some atrophy and some problems physically over the years, and he was almost to the point where he was unable to walk. So when I met David, he was struggling. And I said, hey, let's do the 30 days for $30 and see how you do. You might not love it, but you're going to get a good workout and you're going to get some therapeutic effect, whether you like it or not. And he just had a great attitude. And I think after his first class, he felt some relief. And within a week, he was walking better. He's getting blood flow to areas of his body that he just wasn't getting before. And that is the beauty of a traditional Hatha class, is that the tourniquet effect, the compression and release static on both ends, really makes a difference in the internal organs, the systems, joints, ligaments, and tendons.
I mean, I've heard many stories. Of course, I teach more online than I do in the real world, like you. So I do get great stories that literally want to bring tears to your eyes. Yeah. And I've had students who I have taught, and I've heard great stories. And there is, I don't know if the word's not magical something about yoga. It's just that you have to get up off your own butt and do it. And the magic will appear.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really a personal dedication. And it's not for everyone. The Western world's a little bit different. Discipline is hard nut to crack for some people. But once you get through it, discipline in the room can give you so much more discipline outside the room. And that just gives you better quality of life.
Now, what do you tell people? Dave and I even talked about this. But what do you say to people when, and I know you've heard this, and it's just the most, if you ever walk up to me and say this, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible enough.
I hear it every day. I hear it every day.
You just answered your own question.
Yeah, that's the typical response for most people. And I can't stand the heat. If you happen to be a Bikram or hot yoga enthusiast, whatever the case may be, what hatha yoga or any type of yoga is ultimately going to do, physical yoga, is going to help lengthen that muscle tissue. You're going to get more flexible over time. If you are sticking with your program, a hatha practice 3 to 4 times a week, there's no way that your body is not going to benefit flexibility-wise.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so what would you tell someone, because, it's that everybody always makes these big goals for January, but, within, 26 minutes or...
Yeah.
So what would you tell someone, what that inspirational thing, what do you say, here's why you should do yoga?
For me, I was an athlete my whole life. I conditioned with the cardio endeavors and dance. I loved it. What I found with yoga is that it made a huge therapeutic difference. Not only did I feel better mentally, physically, but in class, outside of class, I'm feeling so much better. It's really whatever you do, whatever endeavor you take up, how do you feel outside of class? What is it doing to your day-to-day activity? And if you're not feeling better, if you're not feeling, more energy, you're not sleeping better at night, you don't look better, then you're probably doing the wrong thing. But if you're feeling better on all those areas, then you're probably doing the right thing.
And I agree with you 100%, because I always tell people that I've done many physical activities throughout the year to stay, throughout the years to stay in shape. But to this day, nothing can compete with what happens when I do yoga. I feel mentally clear.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like I always tell people, it's like taking a shower. You just cleanse your brain.
That is the
better.
best point of all. I tell all my students, my practice is kind of like flossing my teeth, brushing my teeth, taking a shower. It's part of my day.
Right.
It's
part of your life.
It's part of my life. It's a detox. It's a way I fuel my body, and then I have to fuel my practice as well. So it's a really good catch-22. And you have to give it some time. You have to dedicate yourself to at least a month of practice regularly to know if it's something you can stick with. And if you don't feel better, you're going to have to find something else. But I'll tell you what, it might not be exactly what you want. It's probably exactly what you need.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And look at Kristin. I mean, she just turned 75. Look what you. No, I'm kidding. I mean,
close. Yeah.
No, but it does keep you youthful, and it does keep you clear.
Yeah.
And so I think now we're gonna shift over and we're gonna talk to David, because his story is one I think everyone needs to understand. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chaz.
Now, David, I was talking with Krista, the owner, and we had a conversation about yoga and the benefits, not only just being Bikram, but yoga in general. Mm-hmm. And she brought up your story. And, I always tell people that yoga is something that is available for anyone. But she says that you struggle with it, but you still do it. Now, could you tell us your story and what yoga has helped you with and what your struggles are with it?
Okay. I've had polio my entire life. I'm 60 years old. And 2.5 years, I was living with the polio. I learned how to live with that. That wasn't a major situation. But 2.5 years ago, I woke up and I would be think I'd be walking straight, be going this way, and I'd wind up over here. And come to find out, I had a disc pushing against my spinal cord. Mm-hmm. And wasn't in any pain, didn't even know it until I went to the doctors and they did an MRI on it. And they did 2 surgeries on it. In 2 years, they did 2 surgeries on it. But that has been a major change in my life, because I didn't even know where my feet were. I couldn't hardly walk. And
so then what led you into the yoga practice of, you've had this for years, you've struggled with it.
Yeah.
What brought you into the yoga practice?
Okay, my wife takes martial arts right around the corner here. And a fellow over there, one of the teachers, he met me and he said, David, you need to go over and talk to Kristin. She can help you. And he saw me walking and whatever, how I barely stay on my feet. So sure enough, I came over here and talked to Kristin and got started in it. And it has made a major difference. I have a lot more flexibility, range of motion, and I can stay on my feet a lot better. Before this, I was headed for a wheelchair. I mean,
wow.
I was headed for a wheelchair.
For someone who's never gotten into yoga or mm-hmm. says, I'm not flexible enough,
right?
What would you say to that person to why they should be practicing yoga?
Okay, you need to get started And the first week you're not that much flexible. The second week it gets better. Each class it gets better. I'm averaging 3 to 4 times a week right now, and I want to get that to 5 times a week because I can see the benefit. I can feel my body getting better. When I walk, it's still ugly, but I'm walking.
Right.
But I can feel my body getting better each class. That's the reason that I want to devote it. I'd like to get 5 a week in because I really think I'm anxious to see where I'm at a year from now. I think it's going to be a world difference.
Well, thank you for your time.
No problem. No problem at all.
It's truly an inspiration, and it's wonderful. I always love hearing great stories about yoga and how it helps people.
Yeah, it's helping. And if a person will get started in it and just start where they're at and build their goals and just keep working at it.
Well, other than the UK shirt, it's all been good. I'm here at Inspire Wellness with Kimberly May, who's a friend of mine. We go way back many years. One of the first persons I met in college at the University of Louisville. And her company, she focuses on wellness coaching and life coaching. And being that this episode is about healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy food, healthy dieting, I wanted to come and talk to you about, it's a new year. Everybody always has a resolution. So in this episode, I wanted to focus on how we can make ourselves better individuals, how we can change habits, how we can do these things that we want to do. But we're all human and we all have problems. So what would be some basic groundwork that anyone could work on, be it man or woman, that we should focus on? So,
yeah, sure. Well, thanks for the opportunity to speak with you, and I always love what you're up to and your stand for wellness in the community. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And for me, I think starting with my clients, what I talk to them about is thinking about your thoughts. So what are you thinking every day? So you can start with just your thoughts, choosing the thoughts that empower you and focusing on what you're grateful for. So
like a lot of people would say that, your thoughts do come into existence. So if you're in a bad mood or happy mood, based upon that, you can bring those things into the real world. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. So I'll give you an example. Through the years, I worked for years in the corporate world and really wanted a different life for myself. I loved my job and I hated my job at the same time because I worked all the time. I didn't have any balance in my life. I just worked and then went home and went to sleep. And in my dream or in my vision for myself, I had balance in my life. So I would be making a difference in the world. I would leave and go home and have time for exercise, time for my family. I would make nutritious food. In reality, that wasn't happening.
Right.
I was working in the fast food industry. I was eating a lot of bad food. I wasn't exercising, and I wasn't having time for my family or my community.
So you kind of got stuck in that realm, which a lot of people would say to me is, well, Chaz, I work, I've got kids, I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to cook that better food.
Sure.
But you changed that, right?
I did, and so where I started was with my thoughts. So I looked at what I thought about that, and I would write about what I wanted. So I would write, I see myself making a difference with people. I have time for yoga. I have time to cook healthy meals. And so I would read books about it. I would write about it. I would see myself as that. And then at some point it was like I have to take action about that, actually stepping into that role. So I did resign from that job, and I started going everywhere in the city that had what I wanted. I just made a list of all the places that offered health and wellness and talked to them about hiring me. And, the place I really wanted to work actually ended up creating a job for me in wellness. So,
yeah, because this really, this Inspire Wellness was literally inspired by you taking a leap of faith.
Yeah, exactly.
I know where you worked, and I know that it was a well-paying job, and you were, but you were unhappy. And you took that leap of faith. I myself have worked in jobs before, full-time, and you have all those things. I understand I have kids too, but also I took a leap of faith.
Yeah. It was kind of scary, but it was also like I knew I had to do it. I had written about it enough. I had talked about it enough. I had really visualized it. But then when I went out there and started talking to other people about what it would take, and, I really believe that our thoughts create our reality. So we can work with changing our thoughts, we really attract more of what we focus on. A lot of us focus on, I don't want to get sick, I don't want this, and that's really like broadcasting that. So you want to focus on what you do want to bring into reality. I want better health. I desire to live the life of my dreams. And seeing it, speaking it, really being cautious of your language, and really finding people that support you in those positive efforts. And just starting with small steps. Really small things you can do. Carve out time each day to see it and write about it. Look at one action you can take every day to move a little closer. 10 minutes to get quiet. That was the other thing for me, was spending time in meditation and being quiet every day. And then see.
Now, how long did you? Minutes? Because some people, are like, well, I could maybe do it on a coffee break or do it on lunch or something like that.
I tell people, start with a few minutes every morning. Spend some time with deep breathing, focusing on what you're grateful for. See, I told you, deep breathing always comes back into play. I always tell you that. Yeah. Spending time focusing on what you're grateful for. Just start with the few things that are going really well. Gratitude really builds resilience in the body. It brings you more of what you want.
That's interesting.
So it naturally calms your heart rhythms, calms your nervous system. So if you can just spend time in gratitude and then just keep focusing on the things that are going well. So for so many of us, they say we have 60,000 thoughts a day and that 80% of them are negative.
Wow.
And the really funny thing is we have the same 60,000 thoughts a day.
I mean, over and over?
Over and over.
Wow.
Yeah, like a little machine.
So what you're saying here is because, pretty much a lot of people, the new year rolls around and they have their New Year's resolutions. And, those last for what, minutes?
Few minutes.
Few minutes, few days, and then they're back to their old ways. I'm guilty of that, everybody's got theirs. I mean, but, you've got to focus on that. Now, what would be the reason, or how, if people make a New Year's resolution, make it what? Realistic? Make it something that you can accomplish like you're saying now?
Well, I love that you brought that up. I think for a lot of us, we have great intentions. And as a coach, what I find is we need someone to hold us accountable.
Right, you need accountability.
You need someone that you can speak to. First thing I ask my clients is, what do you want? They tell me what they want. We all usually want the same things. We want peace of mind. We want health. We want time with our family. We want to have fun. So we have certain things we want. And then we keep doing what we're always doing, which is the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
We just keep doing the same thing.
Same thing over and over. Right.
And so really having someone that you can speak to, this is what I want. And then my job is to hold you accountable and say, well, what are you going to do to get there? How will you have greater health? How will you have peace of mind? How will you have more fun? How will you create more quality time with your family?
Well, no, there's going to be a lot of people out here watching there, like around the world. So they could find someone in their family, or if they're married, maybe their husband and wife, or maybe a friend that says, look, let's team up together and let's make ourselves accountable for our actions. I want to do yoga, 3 to 4 days a week. Make sure that I do that. And you help me because you want to do X as well.
Sure. You can state that to someone in your family. You can hire a coach. I'd be happy to help them.
Well, that's what we're going to get into next. So if anyone has any questions about this, about how you can utilize the wellness coach side of what Kimberly's doing, what's your website?
inspirewellness.net.
And then they can also send you an email, which is
inspirewell@gmail.com.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Well, everyone, I'm here with Melanie Simmons. Now, Melanie and I have been friends for quite a while, and she's actually taught at the YOGAmazing studio before in the past. But she's also very, very knowledgeable about eating properly and healthy. In fact, she's really into juicing, and that's why we're here. I got a juicer myself this year, so I've been very excited about using it. But being that you are the master juicer, as I'll call it, let's talk about what exactly is it that you do first with the, is it juicing raw vegetables? What is it? Because I know you have a program that you do, right? Tell me
We do. The beginning of January, partner and I, Wendy Mendoza, we created the Karma Cleanse. So based on that yogic lifestyle, that sattvic living, you can use a juicer. You can also use a blender. Today we're going to use a blender. We wanted to make it really, really accessible. So everybody has a blender. It doesn't have to be a fancy blender.
So if you're using a blender, it's going to be more like a smoothie, right?
It's going to be like a smoothie. You're exactly right. We're going to put in greens, and when you put it in the blender, you keep all the fiber.
So with juicing, you don't get any fiber when you juice, or
When
you get
you
rid of
juice, most of the fiber comes out.
it? Okay, because you lose the actual whole part, correct? Is
The
that
fibrous part comes out the back of the that doesn't sound
yeah,
right.
you get that? We're keeping that. We're not cutting that, folks. We're keeping. So the fibrous part comes out the back. Okay, so we get that. See, I knew that this food section would be really good. So it's something.
And this is all part of the cleansing.
So the cleanse part that you do, now, is it for 30 days?
It's for 30 days. This program is, yes.
So that's by using, they do this 3 times a day. It's nothing but doing this?
No, there's a whole program we follow, but it's primarily vegetarian, vegan, definitely the first week. And the second week, what we do is we substitute or replace one solid food meal with just something in the blender or the juicer, so that you're getting a power-packed nutrient meal.
Now, is it something that's, is it a drastic thing to do for people to shift to this, or is it just, it's a shift and it's a good thing?
Well, actually, we made it really subtle, so the shift would be really just gradual and not to shock anybody's system. Neither of us are, it has to be this way or it has to be that way. It's not all or nothing. It's nice and gradual. So the first week, you just eliminated things, and then the second week, you go to vegetarian eating as much as possible, and then the second week, you start replacing only one meal a day with a drink, and it's going to be full of nutrients, so it's not going to leave you hungry. There's lots that's feeding the brain, so the brain's going to feel satiated, and you're going to feel like I'm satisfied.
So what are we going to be focusing on in this smoothie that we're going to be making? What kind of, is it going to be all green, or is it going to be anything else?
It's called, I called it Greens Galore.
Okay.
Because it's got spinach, green, cucumber, avocado, green pear, and green apple.
And then what's this right here?
This is chard. We can add a little chard in there if we like. Again, all greens, and the apple is what gives it the sweetness.
Right.
I like a little more sweetness, so I added the pear. And then we're going to add a little stevia. When I say little, I mean a few drops to give it the sweetness. And then a dash of sea salt. These are sort of extras if you want to add in. You can add in ice. You can add in a greens powder, fresh ginger, anything that assists it with, helping your taste buds find this palatable. This is very palatable when you add the apple, when you add the pear, especially the stevia. But you're getting so much nutrients right here. If you can make the one change, it'll make a huge change in your whole life.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to get started on this, so let's jump in and get it started.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we're ready to go, and
We're ready.
let's give it a whirl.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Good stuff. Now, how much of this should you drink?
Well, you can.
This is about how much? How many ounces? 8?
This is about 6 to 8
6
ounces. And definitely, if you feel inclined to drink the whole blenderful, go for it. It's not like you can overindulge in this. Mm-hmm. In fact, in one of the therapies that they help patients with all sorts of diseases, they use a lot of juicing and or smoothies in this case. So you can't overindulge, and you could even drink half for breakfast and take half in a really nice thermos for work. For lunch.
Hand it out to everybody at work. Say, here, we got some green stuff from aliens.
It will freak everyone out at work. It's true. So, but you'll be the sort of the advocate
of the good green
yes,
stuff.
by making one drink, you'll be the expert.
So if someone wants to reach you and to ask you some questions about this, do you have an email address? Or are you in Facebook? How can someone reach you?
Yes, they can contact me through email, yogacoach@insightbb.com.
It's right there in front of you.
And also Facebook, they can like me at Raindrop Healing.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And everybody, if you want this recipe for this, just go to the YOGAmazing.com website and I'll have it up there. Or you can also send Melanie an email.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, everyone, I think that pretty much sums it up. Keep our bodies in good physical condition, no excuse policy. David did a great job, proves to us that you can find a way to do yoga, and make it work for you and work with it. Very inspiring, David. Thank you. Kristin, thank you for all the great information. It's great to talk to other teachers and to hear their experiences because there's so many out there, about how yoga can change a person's life. Kimberly, about clearing cobwebs out of our head, keeping us on track mentally, and of course to Melanie for that great smoothie, the green smoothie that you can actually get through the YOGAmazing.com website or you can download it in iTunes. Great episode. Thanks to all of my friends who helped me on this. And remember, if you have an idea, send it to me, Chaz@YOGAmazing.com. And remember, please, if you get the urge, go to YOGAmazing.com, click the donate button and make a donation, as it's always greatly appreciated. So everyone, have a great day. Namaste.